Welcome to part two into my look into the differences between the manga and the anime for Dragon Ball Super Universe 6 vs. 7. If you missed part one, check it out here. We've got a lot to get through, so let's get started. 選手と次に戦う第7宇宙の選手はピッコロ選手です。
俺に勝機はあるか。
ねえな。
この野郎、はっきり言いやがって。
From here, we get to Frost versus Piccolo. I'm always excited for a Piccolo moment. He is my favorite character. And it's pretty much the same in both versions. It's brief. However, basically, like in the anime, Piccolo just stands there trying to do the, Makanko Sappo the whole time, and just stands there, keep trying to charge one up while Frost is attacking him. It's just really odd. In the manga, it's an actual fight. So, they're actually fighting. It's just really weird, the anime version. I remember I saw the anime before the manga, and I love Piccolo. So I remember when the fight happened, I'm like, this is boring. Why is he just standing there? I'm like, fight. You could probably kick the crap out of him. And in the manga, it shows that Piccolo is actually, at this point, would have been way stronger than Frost would, in my opinion, watching the anime or reading the manga. Frost was about as strong as Frieza used to be back in the day, and Piccolo surpassed that a long time ago. So it's Piccolo should just fight him. And in the manga, Piccolo is clearly shown having the upper hand, which is why Frost uses the poison against him. So I don't know why the anime was the way it was there. It was just weird. But it all ends the same. Piccolo gets knocked out of bounds after being poisoned, same as Goku, shocking everybody, what's happening right now. Now, both versions have the same thing. Jocko realizes something was up, and he calls foul. Where this gets interesting is at the end of the chapter, again, Toyotarou gives us a cool little extra, and it's just a thing of Frost sitting there with a jar of poison and putting drops of poison on there, so showing us that before the fight he was preparing it. So I just think it's a cute little bonus extra that he threw there. Where things get different is in the anime, after it's all revealed that Frost had cheated, we get, Cappy going, this can't be, he's a hero, I look up to him, all that stuff. And then, Champa saying, what's going on? And then Vados saying, oh yeah, you didn't know? And Vados admitting that she knew all along that he's a deceiver. Frost is not really a hero. You know what Frost does for a living? Frost basically causes wars on planets to completely ravage the lands, and then sells back, resources and construction, all that stuff. And then Frost admits it himself, saying, he's like, hey, it's a business scheme. He's like, well, you can call me bad if you want, but it's my little business scheme. It's how I got rich. So, just kind of painting Frost as this cold-blooded person who doesn't really care about life. This is completely absent from the manga. Frost is never said to be a bad person. Did he try to cheat to win? Yes. In the manga, he basically just simply says, I wanted to win. And he's like, I thought failure wasn't an option, we were told by Champa. So I do think you could look at that two ways. Maybe Frost wanted the prize money that Champa, in both versions, it's admitted that Champa was going to give a bunch of riches to the winners. So maybe that was his motivation, or the fact that Champa, like Beerus, was probably like, I'll destroy you all if you fail. Either way, that would push someone into possible cheating territory. Imagine that if God of Destruction's like, I'm going to destroy you if you don't win, for us. It might push even someone like Frost, who maybe isn't the bad guy, to cheat, to win. Moving along now, we do get basically Frost is disqualified, Piccolo is reinstated, and then Champa in the anime basically is about to destroy Frost right there on the spot. You cheated and you got caught, you embarrassed me, this type of embarrassment will not stand, and he's about to destroy him. When Vegeta stops him, he says, don't destroy him, don't disqualify him, I'll take him on and I'll beat him myself. But in the manga, he just basically throws it out as a line, Champa, and says, I'll destroy you later for this. This type of, he still has the same line of this level of embarrassment's uncalled for, all that stuff. And then Vegeta then steps in and says, no, don't disqualify him, I'll fight him. Not don't destroy him. Vegeta does not say that. He just says don't disqualify him. So there is definitely that difference of Frost being painted as much worse in the anime than the manga. Right before the fight commences between Vegeta and Frost, we do get in the manga, Beerus finding the mark on Goku's forearm and saying Goku must have got poisoned as well, therefore Goku now is reinstated as well. But in the anime, this actually happens after Frost is defeated by Vegeta, and then Beerus, checks the hand, and then we get the same thing play out, just the timing's a bit different there.
頼んだぞ、ベジータ。
私の勝ちでいいだなんて と自信がおありのようですね。後悔しても知りませんよ。
その声耳障りだ。
なんですって。
The anime just leans very heavily into Frost is bad. And Frost just literally looking at Vegeta saying, you want this so bad? He's like, I'm going to use this poison in the match. He's like, I don't even care. And then it's just like, you'll be disqualified for doing this. And Vegeta literally yells out, he's like, you'll do no such thing. He's like, let him do what he wants. He's like, I don't care. No disqualifications. You know, let him try to poison me. Let him use whatever weapons he wants. In the manga, this just fight begins. There's no talking. So, but I would say that the fight mostly is the same. You know, like, I'm scratching my head. I look stupid. Vegeta says, I don't care. You know, let him use poison. Let him use whatever he wants. I just want to fight him. In the manga, they just fight right from the get-go. There is no, discussion at all. In the anime, it's actually a much shorter fight. Vegeta, one hit, boom, knocks him out. Not knocks him out of the ring. I'm talking about like knocks him completely out, like really far away. And still, wins the match in one hit. The manga is brutal. Vegeta kicks the ever-living shit out of Frost. Like, I'm talking about like hit. I mean, Frost is feeling these hits. And this is against a Frost who's not technically a bad person, maybe, he's not painted as truly evil in the manga. Yeah, Vegeta just doesn't care. He's letting out years of frustration how much he hates Frieza, just like beating on this poor Frost guy, and it's quite hysterical. And then he just knocks him out of bounds, like after really wailing on him. In the manga, the next fight just begins. But in the anime, we get more gags, and Champa and Vados decide to create this whole barrier, enclosing the ring, saying that if they touch the outside, they're disqualified. They touch any of the edges of this thing. This is not even in the manga, this whole barrier thing that doesn't exist. Basically, the anime then shows that Frost, after being knocked completely far from the ring, goes to a hidden area where Champa has hidden the treasures, and he's about to steal the treasures. Hit appears and then easily knocks him out. Vados watched the whole thing saying, okay, I guess I'm not needed here. Hit took care of it.
お待たせいたしました。それでは次の試合に進みます。
舞台は整えてやったぞ。いけまげった。おーぽっぽしゅー。もっと静かにできるのか。シュー。いやー。
We now get to Vegeta versus Ora Magetta, and the fights are absolutely different. So in the anime, Magetta jumps and crashes down to the ring, causing the ring to teeter, and then he drinks his lava drink. Meanwhile, Kaioshins discuss whether or not he's a robot or a living being, and they end with a corny gag where Elder Kai's dentures fly out of his mouth. In the manga, it's a bit similar, but he instead walks into the ring, making footprints everywhere he walks due to his weight. He then drinks his lava drink and he throws the can, which crashes into the ground. We get the same dialogue word for word with the Kaioshins, but there is no dentures gag. For the fight itself, in the anime, Magetta attacks while Vegeta easily dodges. And then when Vegeta lands a kick, it causes Magetta to essentially power up, which makes him faster and stronger. Vegeta is still able to avoid being hit. Vegeta then goes Super Saiyan and the battle is now ready to get serious. In the manga, the beginning of the fight is completely different. There is no powering up. After drinking his lava drink, Magetta charges towards Vegeta. Vegeta goes for the first strike with a punch but ends up hurting his hand. And then Magetta slams him to the ground and goes to step on him. It begins with Magetta far more able to go toe-to-toe with Vegeta in his base form. We then get kind of a reverse moment from the anime where Vegeta yelled out to Goku to use his head. But in the manga, Goku yells out to Vegeta, giving him advice to say, hey, do what I did against Boltamo. And Vegeta says, that's right. And he gives it a shot. He has to go Super Saiyan as Magetta is way too heavy to lift. However, even as Super Saiyan, he can't get him to budge. Magetta hits Vegeta in the head. The two fight back and forth until Vegeta yells out, you piece of iron crap. He shoots a small blast which hits Magetta, causing him to fall over and out of the ring. Thus, Vegeta wins. In the anime, after turning Super Saiyan, Vegeta stays airborne while Magetta begins causing the temperature to rise with his lava attacks. Like in the manga, Goku yells out to Vegeta, giving him advice, face, but Vegeta gets upset and says he doesn't need his help. Bulma gets upset at Vegeta for not listening to Goku. So it's kind of interesting that in the manga, Vegeta's willing to take Goku's advice. Vegeta has a close call where he almost touches the barrier that they just put up. We then get a big clash where Vegeta fights his Gallico and Magetta shoots lava. It appears Magetta is going to win the clash when Vegeta tries to move in for an attack, only to be caught off guard and knocked out of the ring, making it appear as if he's lost. The ref checks and we see Vegeta standing on a small piece of the ring and therefore is not out. Pissed off, Vegeta lets out a huge amount of energy, destroying the barrier and releasing the heat, which drops the temperature. Vegeta then charges up his final flash, but as they clash, he punches him, and as he punches as hard as he can to push Magetta out of the ring, he calls him a piece of junk. Yes, even in Japanese, the insult he uses in the anime is actually a little, I guess, weaker than in the manga. This causes Magetta to freeze up, and Vegeta knocks him out of the ring. Now, in both versions, it is Whis who explains how Magetta's race are emotionally sensitive and harsh words hurt their feelings. But in the anime, this explanation comes after Goku sees Magetta crying with Bulma by his side. In the manga, we aren't shown this. However, as an extra at the end of the chapter, we get Magetta crying with Bulma by his side saying, "On the other hand, if you could get over your weakness, you'd be the strongest."
お二人とも準備が整いました。
舞台を新設いたしました。
This entire bit about rebuilding the ring, making it bigger, changing the rules, especially about the ring outs, never happens in the manga. In the manga, Vados does rebuild the ring after the Magetta fight as it was damaged, but rebuilds it the same as it was before. Meanwhile, Champa is actually busy talking to Kabe before his fight with Vegeta. Now we get to Vegeta versus Kabe. Now, those who have watched my top 10 Vegeta moments video, you know how much I love this in the anime. The manga just doesn't do this scene justice. So this is finally in this video where I'm going to put a little bit more love towards the anime than the manga actually. Much like the previous fight, the anime and the manga are quite different. In the anime, after Kabe does the same fighting stance as Vegeta, he attacks and surprises Vegeta, getting in a good hit, but not actually doing much. Vegeta is clearly in control of this match. Kabe then goes for a Gallico, but Vegeta is able to stop it. Vegeta now says they're about the same strength in their base forms and tells him, go Super Saiyan. In the manga, Kabe doesn't do Vegeta's fighting stance, but like the anime, he starts the match on the attack. However, here he actually has Vegeta on the ropes. He even uses the sun almost like a Taioken, like a solar flare, and Kame-san even comments on it. Kuririn then says his fighting style is incredible. This is quite interesting, as in the anime, we never get the sense that Kabe is anything special, aside from the fact that the Saiyans are heroes in Universe 6. Here, we're shown that, of course, Kabe isn't on Vegeta's level in terms of power, but his unique fighting style is able to catch Vegeta off guard. We then reach the same point where Vegeta tells him, turn Super Saiyan. The anime and the manga have Vegeta act cruel to push him into triggering the Super Saiyan transformation, and most of the dialogue is the same. After Kabe goes Super Saiyan, in the manga it's quite short. He attacks Vegeta, Vegeta easily blocks him, that's it. Vegeta reveals he was just teaching him. In the anime, Kabe explodes in anger and is able to push Vegeta back and even get in a few hits. We then get this moment here, which I quite love, when Vegeta smiles. Absolutely loving this moment. Then Kabe lunges forward with a punch. Vegeta stands there and doesn't even block it. He takes the hit right on the head. And then we get back on the same page as the manga. Both versions end the same. Vegeta shows him Super Saiyan Blue and knocks him out. However, in the anime, he knocks him unconscious and leaves him in the ring for the ref to declare him out. In the manga, he carries Kabe over to Bulma. The dialogue between Goku and Piccolo is word for word. One interesting difference, it's minor, but I really like. In both versions, Vegeta turning blue gets Hit's attention. However, in the manga, he just opens his eyes and looks at Vegeta. In the anime, he opens his eyes, looks at Vegeta, then looks over at Goku, who's looking back at him with a smile on his face like, yeah, that's right, I can do that too. Just a wonderful little scene. Another small thing is that Vegeta turning blue does get Champa's attention in both versions, but in the manga, there's a small blink and you'll miss it, Vados' reaction, just showing that she is quite shocked by this transformation. Whereas regular Super Saiyan was new to her, but nothing to write home about. Again, don't forget that here, Vegeta would have the God aura, which would definitely get her attention. What happens next is very different. In the manga, Vegeta wins, Vegeta leaves. That's it. He walks out of the ring. Done. Next match. In the anime, this is part of my top 10 moments for Vegeta, which is Vegeta going back into the ring, throwing the water on him, and kneeling down. That whole exchange of dialogue. You know what? I'm going to shut up and you can just watch the scene one more time here.
巨人の誇り強さだ。はい、僕ベジータさんのように強くなります。ダメですか？
俺を超えてみろ。
はい。
絶対に超えさせない。勝ちましたベジータ選手と対戦する第6宇宙の最後の選手はヒット選手。
Superhero landing. Wait for it. Superhero landing.
Now we get to Vegeta versus Hit. This is pretty much the same thing in both versions, honestly. The major difference here is that the anime has a lot of Vegeta having like inner monologue, like he's basically his inner thoughts while he's frustrated fighting Hit, trying to figure out what to do, and like throughout the whole fight he's thinking. The manga is just them fighting. Both versions do have Goku, of course, going to Jocko, trying to figure out what's happening, why he can't see anything. All of that plays out the same. And then we get to the end of the fight, which pretty much plays out the same. This will be either version you choose here, nothing changes.
それでは勝ちましたヒット選手の次の相手は第7宇宙チーム孫悟空選手です。
Now we get to the big one, Goku versus Hit. I don't mean big one as in like the big fight, but I also mean big in terms of differences. Like these fights, how Goku, in the end does well against Hit is not the same. They're actually 100% different, and both versions are great. The manga and the anime have Goku do something very unique, and that's really cool. Anyway, both versions begin the same. Goku's in his normal state, and he then shows off that he figured a way to kind of counter Hit's little time skips. And, he explains to him, he's like, you move in 0.1 seconds, I'm just predicting where you're going to go next. Goku's a beast, what can you say? In both versions, Goku is able to counter Hit's time jump. But in the anime, he never explains how. Hit says he'll move in a way that Goku can't predict. Goku tells him you can't change your reflexes. That's as far as it goes. In the manga, we get this great little moment where Goku notices his hand move in and out of his pocket. He then is able to counter the time skip, and he tells Hit that he's predicting his moves. Hit has the same line about moving in a way that Goku can't predict, but Goku tells him that he keeps his hands in his pockets to hide his leg movements, and then right before he leaps, he takes his hands out of his pockets, and that's something he can't change. Both the manga and the anime have Goku get serious and say, now the real match can begin. However, in the manga, he goes regular Super Saiyan. Hit then says, you can't turn blue like the other guy? And Goku's like, oh no, I can. He's like, but I'm just not going to do it quite yet. So Goku's Goku. I mean, Goku's great. And it's just such a great line because Goku's got a plan here, which we don't know in the manga. We don't know what Goku's plan is. And then he and Hit fight back and forth. Hit says with a smile on his face that if Goku can predict his next move, then he'll just stay one step ahead of him. To which Goku says then he'll predict that move as well. Just great banter between them, both with smiles on their faces. You can tell they're both really enjoying this fight. In the anime, Goku now goes Super Saiyan Blue. He's like, all right, Hit's like, all right, I see what you're doing. And Goku's like, now let's get serious. Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue. However, in the manga, he doesn't go Super Saiyan Blue. He goes Super Saiyan God. Or as Goten so adorably says in the manga, he goes Super Saiyan Red. And Trunks says, it's Super Saiyan God. It's just adorable. Whis states that Goku not only closed the power gap between them, but has actually surpassed Hit in terms of power. Hit's ability works best against opponents equal to or less than his own power. Beerus asks why Vegeta in his blue form couldn't do this. Whis points out that the blue form exerts too much stamina. Beerus then states that Goku's God form has surpassed Vegeta's blue. What makes this scene interesting is that Hit overhears this entire conversation, which then leads him to going full power.
ヒットのやつ一体何を。
In the anime, Hit begins to get the upper hand, and he tells Goku, I need to thank you. My time alive, he's over 1,000 years old. He's like, I never thought I had to ever train or improve myself. He's like, but thanks to you, I've now improved, and I can do my time skip by 0.02 seconds, so a little bit better than before. Now, this does not happen in the manga. Hit does not ever improve. Hit just is Hit, and he just goes to his full power, as in just his power level. He raises to its max, and that's pretty much all that happens. Basically, this is done in the animes as it was done with Vegeta, Vegeta's match earlier, where it's like trying to really hype up the drama that maybe Vegeta can't win, where he's fighting Automagneta, and they're trying to do like, oh my god, Vegeta might lose this fight. Same here, they're just trying to hype it up, and I think it's fine for this because we all know Goku versus Hit's like the final one, and so I think it's fine to have the extra drama of now Hit might actually be too strong for Goku. So I think the anime version of this point is not bad at all. Anyway, Goku then stands up and basically says, all right, there's no way it looks like Goku can win this, but Goku's like, I have no choice but to do this. And we get by far one of the most insane things I have ever seen in Dragon Ball Super. And I still, to this day, I love this scene so much. Let's watch it. I remember watching this the day it aired here in Japan, and I screamed so loud. I loved Kaioken. Who doesn't? I mean, that's an epic moment as well in the old, Dragon Ball series and, Dragon Ball Z, I should say, for the anime. And just when you watch that for the first time, he's like this, red, flame around him. It's just awesome. Everybody loves Kaioken. But then he went Super Saiyan, no need for it, we thought anymore. He couldn't do it anymore. And then seeing it with the blue, it just like the I guess aesthetically speaking, it's gorgeous. The blue and the red. And of course, we get Goku saying he had been saving this for his rematch with Beerus, and therefore he didn't want to show off that he could do it yet. But it's just wonderfully handled in the anime. Now, this is actually an example of something that Toriyama had no hand in whatsoever. Toriyama did not create this. This was something the anime did, which is not the first. Bardock, for those watch my Bardock special video, sometimes anime writers will do something that Toriyama goes, oh, that's actually a good idea. And then Toriyama's like, yeah, I'm going to do that too. And therefore, this Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken will become canon in the manga later on, which we'll get to when we get to it. But at the moment in the manga, this does not exist. Goku does not go Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken. It does not happen in the Hit fight anyway. So now they go all out, and, it's a pretty fun fight. Kaioken with, Goku fighting Hit, and it's back and forth, and, Hit just keeps saying, hey, every time you get stronger, I'm going to get stronger, and it goes back and forth. He does the giant Kamehameha, 10 times Kaioken. It looks really cool. And basically at this point, Goku says, it's looking hard, and Hit's holding back. He's like, you're a Kuroshiya, you're an assassin. You could you could try to kill me, but you're not using your full strength, I feel. So he yells out to to Beerus and Champa, and he's like, can we just do away with the rules? Let him try to kill me if he wants. Killing is fine. Let him do away with all rules. No more out of bounds, anything like that. I want to fight him at his best. I don't want him holding back. And that's a very Goku thing to do and a Saiyan thing to do. So you can't say that's stupid because that's Saiyans. That's what they would do. And basically, Beerus and Champa get into an argument. Beerus is saying, no way in hell I'm going to die. Champa's saying, that's very, very honorable of you. Of course, I'll allow that rule because it means Hit has a higher chance of winning. As the two begin fighting, Goku's just like, I'm done. Goku goes and jumps out of the ring. So the why Goku quits and concedes the match, giving Hit the win, is because Beerus and Champa are going back and forth. Goku's just like, you know what? I don't want any more of this. And Goku realizing that that's something that will then continue into the next fight when, in the anime version, Hit listening to Champa being such an asshole that Hit's just like, you know what, these guys, man, we're fighting because they want us to fight, and that's the only reason. That's something more in the anime.
それにしてもビルス様たちほんとしょうがねえな。おじゃあまた今度邪魔が入らねえとこで思いっきりやろうぜ。
Anime. Now let's go back to the manga. So the manga, Hit doesn't make any advancements. Like I said, Hit is Hit. That is it. That is as strong as Hit is. He does not get stronger that fast in the match. That's just Hit. And Goku does something really awesome here. While it's not the Kaioken with blue, instead, he's fighting at God mode and dodging all of Hit's attacks, and then suddenly turns blue and hits Hit really hard. And so I just think it was unique. It was a unique way of having Goku get the advantage over Hit. They didn't have the Kaioken, but instead that whole switcheroo thing is still really cool, actually. I actually really do like that. So after some back and forth action, we get a wonderful line from Hit where he looks at Goku and he says, "To think there's someone out there in the universe like you, I'm grateful to have you as my opponent." The anime cuts it off for some reason. I don't know why. So basically in the anime, he starts saying the line. He's like, and which means Toriyama probably wrote this line. It's word for word. He says, knowing someone like you out there exists, and then Champa cuts in and starts yelling stuff. It's just like, I don't know why they did it that way. In both versions, the match ends after Goku fires his full power Kamehameha. Goku then tells him, "You really are an assassin, aren't you?" And he says, "That means you basically have not been fighting at your full power this whole time. Holding back because you don't want to kill me." And of course, Hit's like, well, what are you trying to get at? Goku then jumps out of the ring and basically says, well, let's fight again some other time when there are no rules to hold you back.
お待たせしました。ヒット選手と対戦する第7宇宙の選手はモナカ選手です。なお、この試合が最後の一戦。勝者のチームが優勝となります。
The Monica stuff, honestly, there's no change. Hit basically senses Monica is not really strong at all and takes the fall, gets hit and falls. Again, the anime does a slight difference, which is instead of the manga, it is just basically, because of Goku, I guess, emotionally moving him. And he even says this is kind of like paying back to Goku for what Goku did before about just, conceding the match. But the anime has more Champa's yelling, "I'm going to destroy you. I hate all of you, blah, blah, blah." Champa's an asshole, basically. And there Hit's listening, going, ugh. And then he takes the hit and falls out of the ring, more or less because to get at Champa in a way in the anime. So it's like 100% the same, but anyway, same end result. Now, we do get Universe 7 celebrating, and Goku goes to shake the hand of the king. And this is something that happens in the anime that you don't see in the manga, at least yet. And of course, it's like a gag. Goku shakes the hand of the king, and Chaco's like, "That's not his hand, it's his chin-chin. It's his wiener." And Goku's like, "Oh, God!" And it's like, so you might say to yourself, God, the anime has to be so childish sometimes. At the end of the chapter, we get the extra from Toyotaro of the exact same scene, meaning that Toriyama probably wrote that dirty gag himself, which is, if you know, especially like Slump and, old Dragon Ball stuff, dirty gags were definitely not beneath him. So I definitely get the sense he probably wrote that little gag. He's like, yeah, he's got all these tentacles, and Goku goes to shake his hand, but it's not his hand. So funny that it is actually in both versions, technically. Yeah, from here we get Zeno-sama, Zenchan. He appears, and basically it's the same. There's nothing different here. Everything else plays out the same, where Zen says, at first I came here to warn you guys, you shouldn't be doing this. He's like, but then watching it was really fun. I'm thinking about maybe doing a tournament with all of the universes. And Goku go, really? Really? That sounds like fun. So everything else plays out the same the way in both versions. So From here, no changes. So while the story plays out the same, there are many differences, including the tone, as I've mentioned in this series. Honestly, both have their pros and cons, but for me personally, the anime wins out solely for the Vegeta moment with Kabe, as well as Goku going Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken. What about you guys? Do you have a favorite version, a favorite moment from the story arc, either in the manga or the anime? Let me know in the comments below. The next episode will be the Future Trunks Goku Black story arc, so look forward to that. As always, like, subscribe, and share, and see you soon.